Hey there, misplayers. Keith here at Slight Misplay. What should we talk about today? Orange juice? Purple stuff? No. Sunnygeeks! Sunnygeeks, the new Rathskellers Kickstarter for an entry-level dedicated gaming table combination dining room table. Entry level here is 1,000 euros, 1,200 euros. I don't think you're getting out that easy. I think with all of the add-ons and everything, you're gonna want to get the most out of this table and make it that full gaming experience. It's going to end up being about 2,500 to 3,000 euros with all the add-ons. I mathed it out though to get what I get out of my counselor table close enough to the specs, the size, and all of the add-ons that I have. I still think you're getting in there at about half the price. That's amazing. Is it worth it? Absolutely. If your family makes gaming a primary hobby, if you host game nights often, if you love that feeling of giving your friends an experience, there's some theatrics to these tables. If you want to feel like your game nights or even your pickup games or playing a quick game with your kids are special. If you're a gamer looking for a dining room table anyways, maybe you're house poor, but you need that dining room table to fill out that room, but you still really want that game table because that's why you bought the house in the first place, is so you'd have the space and you could feel like it's your space to make it yours. If you answer yes to any of those and you don't see yourself being able to afford a premium high-end custom game table at 2 to 3 times the price in the next 5 or 10 years, this is a long-term purchase. I think this is an excellent investment in your hobby. Now, would I back Sunnygeeks if I didn't already have my beast of a table already? This is really tough because I love my table so much. Probably not. I can't say for sure. The cost difference is so tempting. That pays for a lot of Dwarven Forge, some nice chairs, more games, more minis. I mean, let me level with you here. The reason I was able to afford this table in the first place is that both of my parents died, and they left me a decent inheritance, and I said I was going to do 3 things with the money that they left me. I wanted to do 2 things that they would have absolutely loved, things for my family. I bought a house and I planned a trip to Disney World that, well, now hasn't happened because of COVID, etc., but it's going to happen one day. Those are 2 things that I knew that my family would have been like, oh, that's great. Oh, that's such a great decision. Oh, that's, you're so caring for your family. And I wanted to do one thing that was just for me that they absolutely would have hated because my parents had just died. I needed some comfort. It was an opportunity to not have to fight with my ex-spouse over spending money on such an extravagance that was just for me. And it's not just for me. My kids play it. My fiance plays on this. I do think about the long-term growth of something like this. But if I hadn't, okay, if I still had that money, if my circumstances were still as they were then, I probably still would have gone with the counselor table. I would have spent the extra money because I don't even know if I was interested in the lights or the sound, but I know it now. I know how great it is now. I can't unsee what I've seen. I can't unhear what I've heard. I can't unknow this knowledge of how awesome this table is. But if I didn't have that extra money, if my parents hadn't died, and I didn't have the money to spend and the rationale to do something to make myself feel good, the Sunnygeeks table has a lot going for it, and it's so much cheaper. I probably would have done the worst thing I could have done, which is hold on for a counselor table or another high-end table, thinking of all of the other cool stuff it would have had, and I probably never would have been able to afford it. And so it would have just stayed a dream. and that would have been a real bummer. Now, yeah, that's such a bummer to think about. Yeah. So don't do that, I guess is what I'm saying. Keep that in mind. Don't price yourself out of something, especially because it's got that great dining room table on it. It's a great way to justify to your partner or your spouse or your roommates and say, hey, we need this dining room table anyways, and I really want this, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for us and our friends and our family. So let's kill two dragons with one sword here and do this right and live that gaming geeky life that I want, hopefully both of you want, and enjoy it. So yeah, that's where I'd fall on that. Yeah, don't be like imaginary past me and price yourself out of something great and hope for something even better that may never come if you don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, this is a great opportunity for you. So I mapped this out, and I'm thinking you're probably going to get with a Sunnygeeks table probably about 75% of the enjoyment that I get out of my table, probably even more, at half the price. If you don't see yourself affording one of these custom bespoke tables from Rathskellers in the next few years, if you can live without the lights and the sound, I can't. I just can't anymore. If you can live without it, I think you're going to get a great quality table with a lot of versatility and incredible overall value. So what do I like about the Sunnygeeks Kickstarter? It's so modular. Stefan Picorni at Dwarven Forge is he must be going nuts when he sees this thing. It's modular! The cellar even appears to be removable, even partially, which is great for big games like Pitch Car or a big map that just isn't going to fit in the cellar. Or just sprawling everything out. You know, I use my table a lot for projects and stuff, sorting out minis and sorting out Dwarven Forge builds and things like that. And having that extra space there when you don't need the presentation is really nice to have. Plus, it's going to literally lower the playing field for if you have small kids. They're not going to have to reach up and then reach down into the game cellar. So that's another great opportunity. If you're having like a kid's birthday party, you can set up a nice big game of Pitch Car or whatever else you like on there, and it's more accessible for everybody. You can also take out the cellar just partially, just portions of the wall. I saw them do that in the video to get that GM screen in there. Oh, we're going to get to that GM screen. But you can take out partially, and I'm thinking like, I don't know what I would use that for. Maybe, I guess if you put like leaves on top and took out one of the end pieces of the cellar, you could use it as a desk during the day. Maybe keep a laptop or some stuff under there. Right now with remote schooling, that seems like a pretty great option to have a table like that. Another thing about, I want to say this right now. There's something about when you have a table like this, and I don't use mine as a dining room table. I rarely eat on it, but if this is your dining room table, how cool is it to know that you're eating on this table and underneath it there's a game set up for after dinner or dessert? Like I play games afterwards on Thanksgiving all the time after dessert, and I don't even play on this table because we're all downstairs in the kitchen and play in the dining room and playing on there. But doing that, if this is your dining room table, I mean, that it just makes every day feel awesome. These tables really they tie the room together, man. They're the focal point, and they just give a sense of fun, and they're custom done. They're great. So, okay, back to the cellar. So back to the cellar. The other things, let's see. Removable cellar. Storing the stuff under the leaves. What else we got here? Oh, the GM station. Okay, so let's just do the GM station. I like it in particular, this one, because it looks very modular. Even the screen is optional. That's big. You don't have to have this big wooden thing in between there if you don't want it. If your DM style is different and you need the little modular pieces and different surfaces back there, it might even be an upgrade over my setup. And it took me a long time to figure out my GM setup on a custom expensive table. This seems really, really well done. 2 cup holders. I can't say enough about that. I don't even have my cup holder here, but I never have enough room at my own GM station for my 2 drinks that I have. I have my water because, you know, your voice goes down when you're, you know, gets trashed when you're DMing, and, you know, something else, another little beverage because you want to loosen yourself up a little. And, you know, for me, drunk DM is a more forgiving DM, so I think my players will be happy about that. The GM station they've come up with here, it looks about the same size I have for my area. It looks like it makes a better use of space. I like that they have that full space underneath there that you can put books or a laptop or something and just store underneath there when you don't need it on top of the table. I can't really do that on mine. So I'm pretty impressed with that. That one gives me a lot of pause. I looked at a bunch of GM stations when I was researching my table. I looked at, do I want one of these? Even afterwards, you know, do I want one of these? You know, some companies out there make some great ones. I always said no. None of them really worked for me. This one, if they had this available, maybe one day they will have come up with one that's available for my table. I probably would have gone for it. It's the magnetic screen looks really nice. It's very versatile. See, when I saw the video at first, I went in skeptical, and I'm like, you know, I'm the guy whose clothes never work right. The toys never work for me like they do in the commercial, because they're commercials. They're not supposed to, right? That's what they're for. But I'm looking at it, and I watched that video a couple times, their Kickstarter video, and I'm like, ooh, you know what? What they're doing there is showing you how to set up your station, and you can customize that and find that station that's right for you. That's great. You're not tied to one particular setup. Like I said, it took me a lot of trial and error, and I still, as I'm evolving as a GM, I change my setup all the time. Sometimes I want a screen. Sometimes I don't want a screen. Sometimes I want my iPad over here. Sometimes I need 1 book. Sometimes I need 2 books. This, you know, sometimes I need a space for minis. Sometimes I'm not using minis. Sometimes I'm using spell cards for an enemy, and I need those right there. This seems like it's a really, really versatile GM screen, and I'm not one for these big ones, but this one, oof, I really like it. I really like that one. What else is there on this table that I really like about the versatility of the magnetic drawers and toppers? You can put the drawers on the inside and the outside of the cellar, so you can get that elbow room and not be pushed too far away. If you didn't see that in my other video, please check that out, because you do want to bring people into the experience and not push them away, and this lets you do that. The outside drawers are still just filling out the outside of the table, and the inside drawers are going to pull you in even as you get more player space on that. That's great. It's good for big groups and small groups there. A lot of versatility there. It also gets the stuff out of the cellar that doesn't need to be there. Even as you're reducing the cellar a little bit by putting drawers on the inside, you're still pulling stuff on the outside. It's still a real estate game. I'm going to probably say that again. It's all a real estate game. It's getting the stuff where it needs to go and getting the stuff that doesn't need to go there where it can go. Other things that appeal to me about this Kickstarter, their sizes, they seem to have really nailed it. Their medium table is a little bit smaller, both dimensions, than my table. The large table is about half a foot shorter lengthwise than my table is, but the width is actually, the width it's wider than my table, which means you can get that regulation game of X-Wing in that game cellar if it's according to spec, which is great. I really think they nailed the size offerings on that. The rest, also because of that removable cellar, you could, with that whole, if you have that whole flat gaming area, you have a completely level playing surface. For me to get that completely flat surface on my table, I am up high. I can't use the felt or the felt topper because that will be a discrepancy between the felt height and the table height. So, but with that big long flat surface there, that's going to be really helpful for that. The rest is really just what toppers and accessories should you get. This is going to depend a lot on the size of your table. The drawers seem pretty essential to making this a gaming table, but I need to think through this a little bit. So unless you want a weird hole where a player is while the leaves are on top, for if it's a dining room table, you're going to need drawers to fill up the entire table. That said, I can see a reason to take the drawers out from the outside and leave a little cubby there. I mean, I guess you could do that with the drawers in and just take the tops off. Yeah, either way on that. But cubbies are cute, right? And you can access them during the game session, which seems like it'd be a little bit of a pain to open up the drawers during the game session, especially if you're using those drawers to use some of the other items like cushions. So I'm fine leaning on my railing here. This doesn't hurt my elbows at all, but these tables, the Sunnygeeks tables, only have that thin cellar rail. Doesn't look like it's going to be too comfortable. I think you're going to want something to lean on there. Could you use a regular topper? Probably. One with a cup holder, maybe. The drawers are 15 inches long. My elbows are more than that apart, I think. So do you need 2 cushion toppers for each player? That seems a little excessive. It's going to take up a lot of space. Maybe if you combine them with cup holders, and you stagger them out right, you put like one with a cup holder here and then one over the cup holder over here. I wasn't doing a Vogue dance there, I promise you. I was just, yeah. So anyways, but if you did that, I guess you could stagger it out, but then you're also losing some playable space on the top of those drawers. So I'm kind of torn about that. It's never going to be perfect. My setup is never perfect. And again, I paid a lot more money for my table and all the add-ons, and it's still, I can never fit everything that I absolutely think I need on the table. Card and counter holders. I like the 2-slot ones over the 4-slot ones. I just do. I like the big and the small there. Either has a ledge line, yay! But only one ledge line, boo. But if you put one on the inside of the table and one on the outside of the table, you have 2 ledge lines. Yay! But now your cellar is a little smaller than it was before if you do that. Boo! But if you get the large table, your cellar is still, I think, a little bigger than mine is, and you spent way less. Yay! Okay, the card and pen holders. If I wished on a monkey's paw for more ledge lines, that's what I would get. I wish I was big. I hate to say it, but I think that's too many ledge lines for me. I mean, if you put one on the inside and one on the outside, that's 8 ledge lines. And the pencil holder, I just use ledge lines for that. And I guess you've got plenty anyways. Oh geez. If you play games with a imperial butt ton of cards, okay, go for it. Just remember, it gets a little tricksy to see the cards in the cheap seats when you've got cards in the good seats in front of it. And these 4 ledge lines there, that's a lot of obstructed top balcony seating for those cards. I don't think you're going to get a lot of practical use out of it. If your whole purpose is to get them in front of you and they're being covered up by stuff, I don't know. I would probably go with just the card and counter holders. But I'm not playing, I mean, I am playing games with a ton of cards. I just like them staggered a little differently. And I spent a lot more on my table for that privilege. So there you go. The charging station and advanced player station. So now we have another variable for mathing out what we need to get to fill out this table. My thought is you probably want enough surfaces for each player. If you play something like D&D or anything with a player board or player area like Gloomhaven or Descent, or let's come up with some different ones, Space Alert or Galaxy Trucker. I'm trying to vary things up here just for you. Android's another good one. Now, apparently I'm on a science fiction kick today. So people want to charge their stuff. I didn't get the internal charger on my table because I don't know, it was €100 for each station, and I got one of these for mine, and it charges my phone. I just plug it in, and it's shiny, colors, nice, pretty. And that was $10 at Target, so I did that. It looks a little clunky, but whatever. But it's nice to have that. People want to charge their stuff. I think it's going to be a little clunky if they've got their phone on there to access that drawer. Spill the phone onto the table. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. What is going to happen, I can almost guarantee, is that if your friends are like mine and they have their phone just sitting on the charger, that thing is going to be vibrating and ringing all night with, oh, this happened with the kids, or, oh, what time are you going to be home? And it's going to be distracting. But, okay, at least the advanced player station, let's just talk about you know, the charging station seems to be about the exact same as that, except with the internal hardware. So I think that's going to be really helpful also to fill out your table. I love that it goes over the cellar rail on both sides. And that's going to, again, it gives you that playable space that's not in the game cellar. If you get enough of them, I would say you've got one for every player. And then you're going to want to probably fill out the inside of your rail, maybe the outside of your rail also, maybe just the inside, just to keep the inside even, to make a nice even playing surface. Or you know what, maybe your aesthetics aren't bothered like that. Maybe you like funky interiors, like shag carpeting and groovy Greg Brady beaded curtains. Man. So what else we got? Trench patrols. Yes, get them. Get two. Dice towers. I don't do dice towers. I throw my dice in hand like we did in the old country, and we liked it back then, dagnabbit. My accent is all over the place, but this one does look very nice. Two sides on it. That's interesting. If that's your thing, come on, you're at the party. Get one that matches your table. It's gonna pop everything up. When your players are gonna love it. It does snap into two drawers, it looks like, so that is genius, but it does take up two drawers and two drawer slots on your table. So again, real estate. It's all real estate. But it does look very, very nice with that GM setup. So I might even be tempted for one of those. If I got the GM setup, I'd probably be tempted to get that just to see if I would use it. It's not, yeah. I'm not going to go through all the other little add-ons. You know what you're interested in. Just feel free to ask me in the comments or on Twitter about anything as it relates to my table, any comparisons, anything like that. But the bottom line here is, are you going to get more value if you spend the extra money for a bespoke, custom, premium table, high-end table like mine and spend twice or three times as much money? Are you going to get more value out of that? Yes. Absolutely. I have no doubt. But, again, don't be like imaginary past me. That could price you out of getting a table at all. And it's letting the ideal be the enemy of the very, 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 very excellent. I think that the Sunnygeeks Kickstarter by Rathskeller is a fantastic way to enhance your hobby, bring yourself up to that level where you feel it's kind of like growing up in the hobby almost. And it does it at such a great price point. It gets you right in there. Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not cheap at all, but it looks very, very comparable in the sizes, in the specs. I haven't priced out all of the add-ons for other companies, but it looks very comparable to Rathskeller's competitors' entry-level game tables, like say Hammered game tables or Wormwood. It looks very comparable. I love Rathskellers, so I can't speak to the Sunnygeeks Kickstarter table itself, but I can certainly say I love my table. I love the way they work. They're extremely high touch. They may get a little busy because this Kickstarter seems to be really taking off. They're probably going to have a lot of orders, but their customer service is tremendous. I don't think there's a lot of risk in this project. I think you're going to be really, really happy with how it comes out. I hope this is helpful to you. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'm happy to do a short follow-up video or just reply on Twitter if you'd like, if there's any particular questions you'd like me to answer. Otherwise, if you could like, subscribe, share this with friends, ring the bell, sign the book, light the jack-o'-lantern, wear a mask, stay home, wash your hands, and vote. Onward.